Hey, this is Ian Westerman. I'm the head pro at EssentialTennis.com, where it's our mission to bring passionate instruction to passionate tennis players just like you. And in today's video, we're going to be looking at an amateur example and a professional player example of one of the biggest keys to hitting a serve that has power, depth, and weight to it, meaning it just kind of jumps up at your opponent and it challenges them. It doesn't just sit there and make it easy for them to tee off and do whatever they want with the return of serve. And what we're going to be focusing on is use of the lower body. Now, I believe that the upper body is more important, but that being said, once you've got a pretty smooth, solid upper body motion, adding powerful lower body mechanics can add a lot to your service motion. So let's go ahead and take a look at our amateur example. And I chose this example on purpose because this is Andy, by the way. He's got a really pretty fundamentally sound and solid upper body motion with his serve. There's a couple of tweaks we could make here and there, but he's doing better than most players. What he's missing out on is a lot of potential with his lower body. And Andy, actually, if we go back and we go frame by frame, what we're going to see is a pretty good bend with his knees, which is probably even better, again, than most players. He's getting down pretty low with his knees. I would say this is pretty close to a 90-degree angle between his calf and his upper leg, which is a pretty deep knee bend. But as we go forwards and analyze this a little bit more closely, we'll see that he doesn't get off the court at all with his left foot. His right foot just barely skims across the top of the court surface, and he ends up stepping in with his right foot into the court, and then eventually gathering his balance onto his left foot. Now, this isn't bad. In fact, I would say this is, again, most better than most players, much better than most players. Most players are doing little to nothing with their lower body, but the contrast between what Andy is doing and a professional level example is pretty stark, and I'm going to show that to you now. And that's really the whole point here, is there's always that next level of execution, and that's what I'm passionate about showing you at home, is here's what you can do. Here's that next step, that next level of performance that can help you be more successful on the court. So here we have an example from Tim Smyczek, who is an American professional tennis player. You may remember he made a huge run at the US Open last year. And what we're going to see from him is a pretty similar initial setup with his lower body, meaning he's going to be right about 90 degrees as far as the bend is concerned with his knees. You'll see his back foot comes up, he uses a pinpoint stance to drive up towards the ball and hit. Either platform or pinpoint can be just as effective, but you'll see he's right around 90 degrees as well. But there's a big difference in what happens as he drives up towards the ball. See, he extends, lifts off, and it seems like he just keeps going and going. By the time he reaches his peak height off the court, he's probably a good 10 to 12 inches. He's probably about a foot up off the court. And what that just shows us is a very focused, strong, powerful, vertical drive with his legs up towards the point of contact. Andy had a pretty good initial contraction of his legs, bending, and he loaded himself pretty well, but there was very little drive up towards the ball. Barely got 1 foot off the court, didn't get 2, whereas Tim is leaving the court by a good foot with both of his feet up off the court. Now, the other main difference here, as you watch Tim come down, he lands with his left foot touching down first inside the baseline, and then from there, he's going to stride forwards and gather his balance with his right foot, which is the opposite of what Andy did. Andy's left foot stayed put, and his right foot came around into the court. Now, again, better than nothing. There's a lot of players out there, maybe, possibly you, who don't do anything with their feet. They stay behind the baseline the entire time and are lucky if they even just take a step forwards. So Andy's not doing bad, but compared to our professional example, there's a lot more power that he could be using. Now, is Tim stronger, better athlete? Yes, he is. This is what he does for a living. But can we bridge the gap between what Andy is doing now and what Tim is demonstrating? The answer to that is yes. We can absolutely meet in the middle someplace, and as a result, hit a serve with more power, more depth, more weight to it, and just hit a more challenging shot for our opponents. So now you've seen the amateur example, you've seen the professional example. If you would like some guidance and get a step-by-step solution to this, where I lay out, again, just a series of progressions. Here's what you need to do to be able to develop a much more powerful leg drive, and as a result, a more powerful serve. I want you to check out the information down below this video. For just a couple of days, we're making our special course, Serve Mechanic, available to registrations, and it will take you through step by step and not only show you how to fix this common mistake, but 5 other common serve technique mistakes as well, which I personally picked because I see them as being the most common mistakes that amateur players make that rob them of consistency, power, accuracy, spin, basically across the board. If you are struggling with your serve, then you need to check out the information down below. So hopefully this video is helpful to you, and I also hope that you join me inside of the Serve Mechanic course, where I'll really take you by the hand and show you step by step how to hit the best serves of your life.